to the Wrestling Fan, the Wrestling Show, the big beefy boy, Shaz Beef. Today, I'm joined by my fellow old bucking Morro. And it's a four-man booth.
The four-man booth.
For the first time.
He's got his strong beliefs.
That's the Four Horsemen song.
Very good.
It's Johnny the Beast Mortos.
Hello. Rawr.
And Kieran Dunphy. Hey.
Rocking an Ernest gimmick. Ernest does wrestling.
With a hacksaw.
Oh, when I was on
Nice hack you're on.
when I used to do sports on KCLR, I used to interview the Gorham Park race manager, the Horsey race manager, and every time before he came on, I'd play the Four Horsemen theme song.
Did anyone ever pick up on that?
No,
No.
but I still played it every time he came on. How are you?
Fantastic.
Couldn't be better.
How's the territories going?
Territories going well. 2 episodes out. Episode 0 on episode 1. Episode 2 coming next Wednesday at lunchtime. It's 2 hours and 12 minutes. I'm slightly worried about the audience retention rate.
What'd you do in episode 0?
It's a prologue, just going through the roster and all
I
that.
thought we could only do 10 episodes, and then he was like, but episode 0 isn't really an episode. So.
Fucking love prologues.
And there's an epilogue as well.
Is there an epilogue?
Yeah, of course there's 12 episodes. We need a 10 episode thingy. I was like, yeah, I got just the thing for you. 12 episodes.
You need to get one of these almanacs going.
It's
at
going
the
to
end
be
of
an
it.
almanac released. But I'm going to do a season 2 after that.
Yeah.
Though that might be 10 episodes. But
From the same roster.
well, what I'm thinking towards the end, what I might do is put out a Wrestling Show fan vote on what we
Fan vote.
do. I continue with WCW into '93 with Brett's contract coming up, or do I maybe start make my own company and start from scratch with no money and all that kind of stuff? Try and build it up.
Do OTT.
In
Could do
2020, do
OTT.
OTT in 2025.
Yeah, you could. There's the 2018 mod OTT are in it with all like Logan Bryce and all them. That
Yeah.
could be fun as well.
Nice. How have you been, Johnny the Beast? You enjoying your wrestling?
I've mostly been enjoying my wrestling. Yeah. Less so WWE now these days.
It's dog shit.
Controversial.
You enjoyed
but
Clash in Paris, though, didn't
I
you?
did enjoy Clash in Paris.
I thought that was decent, like, yeah.
I watched that 4-hour show in an hour.
Well, it can be done.
I feel like that entire promotion would be absolutely fucking tanked right now if it wasn't for Becky Lynch. Not tanked, but you know what I mean. Like the creative inspiration seems to be mostly propped up by that woman at the moment, I think.
Dunphy, long time no see.
Yeah, how are you doing? Laying low.
Yeah, last time you were here in cartoon form.
I was, wore a mask for a while.
Yeah, we're working on an actual T-shirt with all of us in cartoon form.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'd buy that.
it's a play on like a WWE Ruthless Aggression, but it's all 4 of us as cartoons.
Nice.
That's lovely.
Nice.
Shane.
What artist is designing it?
Matthew,
Nice.
who does the editing, he does all the artwork. Well, he didn't do this one. This is a different
It's
Redbubble.
an actual T-shirt.
Anyway, 4-man boot for the very first time. Lots of
incredible.
opinions are going to be
For the
floating
very
about.
first time.
We've done loads of
This,
four-man booths.
this year.
Probably in 2020. It might be the first
The
four-man
four
booth.
of us, yeah.
We did a 3-man one, did we?
We did a 3-man one, and then we
You've
did a
done a good
4-man
few
with John
3-mans lately.
Dorn.
We did a 5-man with John Dorn, no?
No,
We-
four-man.
Oh, it was a 4-man. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, captivating material here for the audience.
right, we jump straight into it.
Yeah. Let's do a 6-man boot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so earlier on, we put up on the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show Instagram. If you want to get part of the conversation before the conversation actually happens, keep an eye on all our social media platforms and all that kind of stuff. But what we had with a picture of Marty Jannetty was today's podcast: wrestlers who got in their own way.
This is going to be 2 hours about Marty Jannetty.
Well, shall I read the people
Fan
first?
response.
Yeah.
The Wrestling Show fan response.
Yeah, Jamie Boswell 17 from
Jamie,
Scotland,
yeah.
man. Yokozuna. I heard Jim Ross on a podcast say he went to a fat camp but snuck in fried chicken, along with Vader.
That'll do it.
That was an argument that I had about Vader as well.
There is absolutely no way in my book that 2 of the biggest heels of the 90s, multiple-time world champions, would ever be included in any version of this conversation. But I take the point that, you know, maybe they could have gone a little bit further, particularly Yokozuna, if it wasn't for weight problems.
Well, we're going to have to set parameters then, I think. Like what counts? How far in your own way can you get? And,
But they could have been bigger though. Like Marty Jannetty was an Intercontinental
Yokozuna
champion.
could not have been bigger.
Yeah.
I disagree. Well, like, I do feel like, I mean, like, if we were wrestlers, hypothetically speaking, if any of us were a wrestler and became a world champion and fucking headlined WrestleManias SummerSlams,
Tokyo Domes for Vader.
fucking Starrcades, Tokyo Domes. Would you be going, completely fucked my potential there?
Yeah, it could have been bigger.
Didn't have much of a career.
It could have, yeah. Well, I suppose a lot of it is viewed in the WWF kind of context. And it's funny that you mentioned world champions because Thank Me Later, who's always active on X, was Scott Hall. He probably could have been a multi-time world champion had he not had a drinking problem.
He's a definite candidate for this kind of conversation. John, we defer to your knowledge.
I agree, yes. In WCW, certainly. In WWF, I think he could have been a world champion. Possibly he should have been a world champion. As Razor, yeah.
If he hadn't
stuck
left
around.
when he did,
Guaranteed it. I'd say if he hadn't
I think he
left.
definitely would have won.
That doesn't work for me, brother. Because the reason he left was because he had grown stagnant for at least a year. Verging on maybe fucking 2 years, and Vince was not promoting him to the main event. He became the first 4-time Intercontinental Champion. Nothing else for him to do in that division. He held it up for...
He had world title shots.
He did as a heel, but not as a babyface.
What about in 2002 when he came back? Had he not have had his issues?
He was too fucked with the drink at that point, I think.
Yeah, but say if he was clean and sober, do you think he would have gotten a nice run?
Nash didn't get pushed that time either.
Yeah,
so.
that's what...
Nash did get pushed the following year. The thing with...
But Hogan won the title within a year.
But Hall did...
Within a few months.
Hall got pushed strong from his return in February 2002. He had a big match at WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin, nothing to be sniffed at.
Shit to bed.
I don't know if he did. I felt like Austin...
Great stunner of all time, though.
He took
Until
great...
recently.
One of the all-time best stunner cells. I just feel that, Hall was on a very tight leash at that point. When it came to the plane ride from hell, he'd completely fucked it. He got fired. But Austin was obviously not 2-2. Austin really did very little to put Hall over at that time and didn't have a great match with him. Austin was just fun.
The plane ride from hell is quite an interesting topic because isn't that where Mr. Perfect and Brock Lesnar have their kerfuffle on a plane?
It's where Ric Flair got his dick out in front of an air stewardess.
Poor Michael Hayes got his...
Michael Hayes got his ponytail cut off.
Freebirds are actually a good mention considering their behaviour in the early WWF.
When they went up first. And
They lasted, 3 weeks?
So hold on, go back
parameters.
let's go back to the parameters.
Thank you.
How about other names? Can we go through the other names first?
Yeah.
Oisin McCarthy, friend of the show. Enzo Amore during his WWE run. The guy just didn't know how and when to shut his mouth.
I would very much agree with that.
Okay, we'll get into it.
I just think with Enzo that he just didn't have the potential.
In the same way Dominic Mysterio.
I disagree.
Yeah, I think he could have been Intercontinental Champion or something.
I think he could have made it to that level, certainly.
Miz level,
Not Miz level, because Miz is a multiple-time world champion, WrestleMania main eventer. Enzo was never going to do that. But Enzo, as potentially an Intercontinental Champion, a leader of a faction, as a manager, as a strong tag team wrestler, he was unreal on the fucking mic.
One of those guys
had a fantastic
who
look.
doesn't need the title. He
doesn't need the title.
Pitched in an upper tier level without needing the title.
He could have excelled way, way more than he did.
Okay.
Even as a slightly crummy wrestler.
That's kind of helping me with the parameters. We're not talking
we haven't set the parameters.
No, we haven't set the parameters.
The
We're going
first
through
hour
listener.
of this is setting the parameters.
David Ayers, another friend of the show. We're building a nice community here.
Thank you, friends.
Austin Aries is the top pick for this only
a
big
good
company
one.
that still use him is MLW. Also, Matt Riddle.
Yeah,
Matt Riddle
as
is
recent
on our
as
list.
today.
I think both of
fucking
those are fucking... Whatever the parameters are, both of those are ironclad.
they meet
Neither
the
of them, considering the opportunities they got and the potential they had, they bundle fucked it every single time.
Although you could say Matt Riddle, considering the stuff that he's coming out with recently, I mean, maybe he did really well to get this far.
He's kind of spurned this whole conversation.
That's another interesting way to look at it, though, is to go actually, a lot of these guys got as far as they did in spite of themselves.
Well, he's on my list.
In spite of themselves.
Another shithawk.
I was like, who's on that? Undertaker.
In spite of themselves.
Marno Max says Edward Stewart Tate.
No.
From the 5 marks.
Hasn't hit his ceiling yet, I don't think.
I think he's shooting.
He's an Enzo-esque character in many ways.
He's shooting. He's done. I think he's reached his pinnacle.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, he is. He's a fucking absolute twerp.
He's a canny businessman, and I think he's got oiling the wheels there backstage. So
going to be found
all
out.
right.
And another friend of the show, and this one we're going to kind of put to Nash, because Alma Hierro said Nash will credit me with one that might upset some people.
Kevin Nash.
So I had a feeling he might have been in touch.
Yeah, so he was part of our pints drinking last night.
Okay.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
You were there.
You were there.
I wasn't there.
You stood beside me at the concert.
Shane
No,
wasn't
that
there.
was me saying thanks for inviting
What
me.
concert were you at? I wasn't there.
We were at Ryan Davies and the what?
Something band.
The E Street Band.
Ryan Davis and the something band.
So, yeah, Ryan Davies. Good concert.
Concert.
Gig.
Fucking dad.
Go on. What's his?
So we were drinking pints afterwards, and the topic of conversation came up. Said, Al, who would you pick as a guy who?
Yeah,
would have
one of
done
these
more?
things.
Yeah, one of these parameters.
Did he know the parameters?
Because we don't. We don't fucking know.
The parameters are never achieved their true potential.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said Cody in AEW got in his own way and fucked himself in AEW. I thought that was a great answer. Because he did two things. He came up with the idea of not being allowed to wrestle for the world title again.
Yeah.
And he didn't turn heel. I think if he turned heel around the time of that Anthony Ogogo
So
farce,
you think the ego of Cody got in his own way in AEW?
That one kind of confuses me though, because you're separating Cody from, like, he's getting in his own way in AEW, but only to not get in his own way and become the greatest face in modern history in WWE and main event WrestleMania.
Look, I know that, but
twice.
I'm just saying, I don't
So,
know
like,
what the
it's
parameters.
it's hard
Three
to.
times.
I don't know what the parameters are here.
We don't know what the parameters are.
John has never set the fucking parameters.
Look, you know what? We can talk about people who were world champions and headlined some of the biggest shows of all time, and yet still weren't as big as they possibly could have been. That is valid, but I think the juiciest part of this conversation is people who maybe got as far as the Intercontinental US title level.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you said
and dropped off.
And dropped off, like, who were climbing the mountain, never got to the top of the mountain.
But the first person you pulled up there was Jeff Hardy. He's a former world champion.
The thing about Jeff Hardy is, like, if you look at people in terms of, like, oh, well, he could have done more. Like, say Austin Aries, say Enzo Amore, people that we've discussed already. None of them could have been the next John Cena. There was a period where Jeff Hardy was bigger than John Cena and very easily could have been that guy. He sold more merch than Cena for a period. He was a much hotter babyface. He became the world champion and then
Went to TNA.
The fans
loved
fucking
him.
loved him.
So Jeff is a guy who, like, yeah, he should
went to
have.
TNA and did the same thing. That
Went
main
to
event
TNA, did the
against
same
Sting.
thing. Went to AEW, did the same thing. He's a guy who you go, that's an ironclad, like, merchandise shifting, beloved babyface. He's been a massive star for over 20 years and still didn't quite scratch the surface.
I don't even think he, like you said, scratched the surface of what he could have been.
No, I mean, there's no WrestleMania main events. A degree of bad booking definitely hampered him at times. For example, when he was at his hottest, they decided to put him into a feud with his fucking brother instead of putting him into a feud.
That was a terrible WrestleMania match.
And it was an awful
25.
WrestleMania match, and it kind of, like,
Stinker.
took away. And I don't know if there was any politicking behind the scenes or whatever, but, like, that took a lot of the shine off Jeff at the time. Jeff went from being the hottest babyface in the company to a slightly more lukewarm version of the hottest babyface.
Like, it could have been Christian. That was the initial.
The plan was Christian, and it was a mix of Vince hating Christian and them thinking it was too obvious that it was going to be Christian. But sometimes, hey, the obvious fucking story is the story. It's obvious for a reason.
99% of the time,
Yeah.
the obvious one is the
So
right
does
one.
Jeff count within the parameters?
Jeff counts if you only go someone who's a world champion who never quite scaled the heights that he could have. He didn't even scale Edge's heights, which he easily could
So
have.
do
Never
you-
had a sustained
do-
push.
do you
because
think
of his finger
that-
problem.
said Jeff Hardy could have been the next generation babyface? Because WWE, you have Hulk Hogan, you have Steve Austin, you have John Cena. Do you think Jeff Hardy could have bridged that gap between Cena and Roman?
Yeah.
I think it was well within Jeff's abilities and popularity to have a 3 to 5 year run.
Because you're talking about a Mount Rushmore wrestler then.
Like,
Yeah.
if you
That's what I mean. Like, like he got to a super high level, but he actually could have been the face of the company.
Yeah.
What about
for
his wrestling
multiple years.
style?
I don't think he could ever have. To be honest, his promos are awful, in my opinion.
Well, I think Roman Reigns promos are awful. But people fucking love him.
Suffering succotash was, but
I had to put him with him, and like,
I don't think I know Jeff is not about promos. I know he's enigmatic and all.
but he has this charisma
But
that
you need-
like Roman doesn't have.
But how do you carry sustained feuds with other top heels if you're not great at promo?
I disagree just massively here. I like fucking.
I don't care.
Brett wasn't a great
Grant.
promo
I was
until
just, I was
Brett
just,
wasn't
I
a
was
great
just
Bret was a good promo.
Bret Hart and
He had one good year on the stick.
No, Bret,
Yeah, but Bret Hart isn't regarded in the Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin kind of like
But Bret is
flag
a good
bearer.
promo.
the similarity between
passionate
Bret Hart and Jeff Hardy, which the vast majority of these guys that we're talking about do not have, is that Jeff Hardy and Bret Hart are two of the most authentically themselves wrestlers. There is no even turning the volume up to 10 with them. The volume was barely turned up to 5 with both of them, and they were still massive fucking stars, hugely over. Jeff's got a quiet charisma in the same way that Bret had a quiet charisma.
But say when Jeff did get a lot more creative control, you would imagine.
Sting was shit on the mic.
No.
For most of his career, he was shit on the mic.
But when you're saying that
He didn't need to be.
their levels weren't turned up. When you look at Jeff Hardy in TNA, when he kind of had a bit more control and he did that whole immortal thing and stuff, that kind of sucked ass.
Yeah, but that was TNA.
I've seen his catalogue of music videos.
They're fucking.
He gets slagged off online by Joey B.
I know he doesn't
Tunes a
care, but
lot.
like they're
Just let a man fucking vibe in the woods. Like, you know what I mean? Just let him off. That's what he wants to do. Like, he's grand.
I'm happy for him.
He's hurting fucking no one. He's not driving a car.
I don't know if them cats and all are
Thankfully.
overly best pleased about the situation.
Jeff Hardy.
Would you put Jeff Hardy in there?
If we're talking about people in the main event star world champion who didn't get even bigger than that again, then yes. But in terms of like not realised potential, absolutely fucking not. He held nearly every belt in the company. He's been a major star for 25 years. He's a multiple time world champion in a couple of promotions. Not a chance.
And you could do that counter argument thing where, in many ways, maybe he overachieved.
Yeah, you know
Based
what?
on his
You know what I mean?
demons.
Like the yin and the yang of Jeff Hardy in terms of like similar guy, similar time, opposite fucking problems is Christian Cage. Because Christian had none of the personal problems that Jeff had. He had all of the talent, all of the charisma, all of the potential, but never got the opportunities or the push that Edge and Jeff particularly, and even fucking Matt got.
Yeah. Do you think though part of that is because Jeff looked like a professional wrestler that kids wanted to dress like and look up to, while Christian
and could dress like.
and could dress like, which
Just
is really
like
important
Cena.
in wrestling. While Christian, for a lot of his career, was bland or was moving gimmick to gimmick to
Christian
gimmick.
could have been your
Christian
top
was
heel.
never
like.
bland.
No, not for me, but for kids. Like
He could have been your top heel though. Like he had top heel ability, you know what I mean? Even today he has top heel
to be honest,
ability.
if they gave Edge such a long run, they could easily
exactly.
give
Christian's better than Edge,
in my
like, you
opinion,
know?
yeah.
This is like that, you know, the argument we were making around Seth Rollins, which we don't need to get into, but...
Oh, I'll get into it. If you want to get into it, I'll get
But
into
you know
it.
what? If Christian at any point had got like just 6 months of Edge's push, what could have fucking been?
Did he not get it in 2011 with Orton and stuff?
No, because
no,
he
he
won the
was
world
stamped
title.
on
Because he won the world
instantly.
title for the first time and fucking dropped it 4 days later.
He got in TNA, that was it.
And he was deadly in TNA.
I think AEW to an extent, even though
Oh no,
he
AEW
was,
is brilliant in AEW.
he was kind of
Sensational.
past his prime, but
Renaissance.
but he's a smart dude and he did his best character work. He's doing his best character work.
But even when he
right
came
now.
in as a face at first, he kind of came in as a face under the radar. But after like 3 weeks, I was like, at the time, I was like, why are you signing Christian Cage in like 2020?
And they
because
made
you
it.
forgot what Christian Cage is
And
And
then
they-
like after 3 weeks, I was like, that's why they.
Yeah,
And then they built it up to be like, oh, this is a game-changing signing. And you're like, the last time I seen him, he was after getting punted by Randy Orton
Yeah,
or
but
something.
everybody was expecting Punk, and everyone's a bit disappointed. But Christian turned that around. Like you look at, 3 months, maybe it wasn't 3 months after his debut. It was a couple of months after his debut. The first episode of Rampage, that fucking like white hot match with Omega, where Christian wins the TNA World Title.
That was sensational.
That was great, but it didn't seem like an
That's him
AEW
as a
hit his
face.
stride until he turned
When he
heel.
turned heel,
He's always a better heel.
Yeah. But like what I'm saying is that his face run was actually underrated at the start.
But he didn't get in his own way.
No, he's
he's
not.
never-
He doesn't fit the parameters.
He doesn't fit the parameters. He never got he never got in his own way, but he was also never pushed properly.
Do you think by having, and this is just to be devil's advocate, by Christian having a bit of an ego and moving to TNA, that would have eventually hampered what he could have been in WWE?
Vince is just having a fuck you attitude.
Well, it's kind of weird. Like,
Well, like you
most
see-
people would have gone to TNA and then they'd come
No,
back and they'd
like,
get super
okay.
pushed. And then afterwards, then they become, Vince would buy into what happened before. It seemed like in Christian's, and he's one of the only people that this ever happened to, where he got super over somewhere else and then he came in and they just were like, oh yeah, we're squashing you now.
Okay, so the argument I make against that is, right, Christian was with the company for 6 years.
Yeah.
He won the Intercontinental title multiple times, tag team title, one of the best tag teams of the era, was an amazing Intercontinental champion, was hugely over as a face. 2005, the dude gets himself fucking jacked. He gets a makeover. He looks like a million fucking
Tyson
bucks.
Tomko.
He gets Tyson Tomko as a heater. He is insanely...
heater?
A heater? A heater. He's insanely over as a heel. Then he's put into the spot he wants, which is main event heel against John Cena. Within a week or two of that program starting, Vince gets cold feet on him and plugs Jericho into it as well to make it a three-way. That was the point at which Christian decided he's gone, all right,
Fuck this shit.
I've done everything.
But
And not on his putting me near the main event.
We're coming up to ECW been starting as a brand, where he does eventually end up when he comes in. Say if he goes to ECW, a la a Chavo Guerrero or a Kane or a Mark Henry or a Big Show, like he could have thrived in that promotion had he just waited out, and then by proxy. By making a name there, like Mark Henry did and like Kane did when they eventually went on to SmackDown and won the big titles.
He does re-debut in ECW. He comes in.
Yeah, in 2009. But I mean, like, if he was one of the... And just fantasy, like, if he stayed around and got put...
ECW originals.
Got put to that.
Maybe there's a little bit of a bit of a Jake Roberts argument there, as in, okay, you left, like, you walked out of the company a year too early.
Yeah.
And if you held out for another year, and I think the argument could be made for Christian, because he was his most over in 2005, and then he fucking left. Yeah, maybe he could have been, but the way Vince was booking him, I think he saw the writing on the wall. And then if you saw what happened to him when he came back in 2009 and then he becomes a world champion in 2011, and then how he was subsequently booked when he was the world champion.
After some good matches.
I mean he has one of the best feuds of that decade with Randy Orton. And that is all, like, that's Orton and him in spite of the booking they were given. And it was an electric fucking feud. And it kept SmackDown alive, like, for most of that year. But still, like, I think it's valid that he probably left, because there's no version of him that got booked properly at any point.
And plus, it was pretty top heavy on main event stars at that stage as well. So where does he slot in? Whose place does he take?
You say what?
WWE was.
Oh yeah, WWE.
2006.
Sorry. I thought you were talking about WWE 2011. Yeah, real
2005,
real surplus
2006.
there with Del Rio and Mark Henry up in the main event, fucking world title slots.
Yeah, Cena, Batista, Triple H,
Orton
Yeah,
coming
maybe.
in.
Great Khali
Booker
was
T.
still knocking about.
Booker T,
Undertaker,
Lashley,
Edge.
Lesnar.
I don't think there's any argument here I'm really going to
Lesnar's
agree
gone.
with. So,
I'm with you on the Christian thing.
but I'm just saying, like,
He reached his
but he's like the fucking, he's like the, you know, he's the
he got
he's
as
like
far
the
as
dark
he's
side
allowed to
version
go.
of Jeff, in that, like, he never fucks up, but he never gets.
Let's talk about Nailz.
Yes.
I had a segue into someone else, but okay. Because you were talking about tag teams. You're talking about Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy. You're talking about Edge and Christian. What about Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty? Or do you want to talk about Nailz?
No, let's go.
let's talk about Nailz.
Let's talk about Nailz.
Let's talk about Nailz, because I don't think there's anything to talk about with Marty Jannetty. I just don't think he was that good.
Sorry, there's actually so much to talk about Marty Jannetty. I feel like Marty Jannetty is the only thing we're going to talk about for the rest of the program. But we
Well,
probably
no,
won't.
I mean, like, there's loads to talk about in terms of how he's a total fuck up.
And getting in his own way.
But I just don't think he was ever going to be.
All right, we're talking about Marty Jannetty. Okay, let's do it. Pull the trigger. Put Nailz on the back burner.
So, like, you can even go to his comeback build up to WrestleMania 21, where
that one.
where he's like he's dressed in that old kind of rockers gear or whatever, tags with Shawn Michaels, has a great match with Kurt Angle, and then just gets in his own fucking way again.
Well, he wasn't allowed to leave the country, so he couldn't work matches in Canada. So yeah, maybe not entirely Marty's fault. I mean, the Dark Side of the Ring covered it pretty well in terms of Marty. The thing about Marty is, like, factually, Guinness Book of Records, he is the most fired and rehired person in WWE history. Unlike the likes of Christian Cage or a few of the other people that we've talked about and probably will talk about, Vince McMahon loved Marty Jannetty. Marty Jannetty was seen as being the breakout star from the Rockers. Marty was given numerous pushes and numerous attempts, and he absolutely fucked it pretty much every time. His best run is probably that short 1993 run when he comes back and he wins the Intercontinental title.
Why do you think he was seen as the breakout star rather than Shawn Michaels?
Because Vince doesn't know wrestling.
But why
Also,
by who? By Vince?
There's a
Vince,
very simple factor in this. Marty Jannetty was a fucking amazing wrestler.
I think he was great, yeah.
In ring, he was unreal.
And for years, he was better than Michaels. He was the general of that tag
But
team.
like
When you go and look at the
they put him
Rockers
with
stuff.
they put Michaels with him.
They bring him back in 2005, right? Marty's been wrestling in independence for a couple of years and hasn't been doing a lot. He's still Party Marty, and he's still like he's probably operating now. This is most of Marty Jannetty's career. He's probably operating at like 30% of what he can do, and he's still going in there having barn burners with Kurt fucking Angle. Like, Marty could go. Unfortunately, Marty was just hungover most of the time.
Like even when the Rockers were initially brought in, you read in Shawn Michaels' books that they kind of got in a fight or whatever. Shawn Michaels, I think, busted a bottle over his head, but because of that party lifestyle, they got tarnished with a brush. So that story became so much bigger, and they got fired after their first day in WWF.
You know what? That is up, but also that story, which is their first hiring for WWF, they get fired after about 3 days because of that incident in the bar with, I forget who the wrestler was who dared them to smash the bottles over their heads. It's in Marty's Dark Side of the Ring anyway. But the thing is that they completely fucked up, but they're brought back because they're so fucking good. In the same way that like Marty was consistently brought back throughout the 90s into the 2000s, and in the same way that like Shawn, who was a fucking raging nightmare for most of the mid 90s, was consistently, no matter how much he walked out in the company, wouldn't drop a title, wouldn't take a loss, was fucked up on drugs, was getting in fucking fights with Marines, getting shit kicked out of him by Marines. Like, Shawn just kept getting chance after chance after chance. So the two of them, two absolute perpetual fuck-ups for most of the 90s, those two boys were just so fucking good in the ring that they got chance after chance after chance, and Vince was happy to let them have those chances.
Wait, what's this? Where's the ceiling for Marty? I suppose when you're thinking about the fact that like in SummerSlam 92, it's Bulldog versus Bret. I know it's in England and everything, but like you could easily see Marty in a position like that where he's main eventing for an IC title match.
Yeah, I never thought he had world championship potential.
No, but
character-wise, but he could have been.
He could still promo. He'd be full of energy in those promos.
He could have been like the linchpin of an intercontinental title, like a guy that it always goes back to.
Yeah, but the intercontinental title, like,
it was very prestigious back then.
Yeah, but it's designed to elevate you. Now, obviously, some people it didn't, Mountie.
What I mean was,
disagree with that to an extent.
He's not the guy who the title's going to elevate. It's he holds the title to put over the next guy that makes someone look good.
Yeah, but also, I'm
gone further than that.
But I'm not.
I don't think so.
I'm not saying that Marty,
like we're talking about a clean Marty who doesn't party.
Maybe, yeah.
No, like
no party, no Marty.
This is also the fucking problem with Marty. I think in some ways is that like they never really.
He's a great lad in the pub.
Marty's a great lad in the pub. The George Best. I was thinking about that actually on the way down. I was like, we should actually talk about what wrestlers we'd go out on the fucking piss with.
You've pitched this.
CM Punk. That's all I can go.
Never. But
you and Punk.
I don't think I'd enjoy a night out on the beer with Marty Jannetty.
I think you'll get intense after a very quick period of time.
And he'd just be fucking like showboating and stuff. I wouldn't be into it. The thing with fucking Marty,
rocker dropkicks off the bar.
The thing with Marty that hampered him just as much as his constant party and lifestyle was the fact that I don't think Marty had an aptitude for character work and promos in the way that Shawn did. So like if you're breaking the Rocker, like so the Rockers are this fucking massive tag team in the 80s into the early 90s. When they break in fucking
he's still a rocker.
Late 1991, he's still a fucking rocker.
Yeah.
Now Shawn's still a rocker, but Shawn does this kind of like
stripper gimmick.
He does like he folds in. It's a bit of a stripper gimmick, but it's also very Elvis Presley tinged.
Yeah.
So he goes back in rock. What Marty should have been doing there is actually taking his Marty lifestyle, making that a little bit of his character. Maybe he
grunge it up.
Grunge it up. Be like fucking he could be a bit of a 80s hair metal guy, or if he was on the Pulse, he could be like a fucking PG Raven in 1993, and that could have been Marty's thing. They played around with a little bit of that kind of stuff when Marty's first comeback in 92 and Marty's second comeback in 93.
He gets deep into trance.
He gets really into trance. He's mad for jungle music.
Him and Alex Wright team up.
They did this stuff on Marty.
I'd be game for that.
When Marty comes out in the fucking in 93, to attack Shawn, he comes out in kind of the grunge shirt and he's got the hoodie up and the sunglasses and he's jumping out of the crowd. And then the year before when he did that angle where he accidentally, where Sherry got smashed over the head with the mirror by Michaels, kind of on purpose. Like Marty was doing cool, kind of like hopping the barricades, disguising himself, fucking shit. If he just kind of leaned into that a little bit more, then you've got a unique, novel gimmick for a rock-tinged guy that could go toe-to-toe with Shawn Michaels for a couple more years.
Do you think him and Shawn WrestleMania 10 ladder match like that?
Here's the thing, Marty Jannetty never had a singles WrestleMania match. Marty Jannetty was supposed to fight Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 8.
Yeah.
He got fired, had the sub in Tito Santana. Marty Jannetty's supposed to fight Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 9. Gets fired because he showed up drunk at the Royal Rumble, did his match drunk, pissed off Shawn. The fucking rematch, as it was supposed to be at WrestleMania 9, gets cancelled.
Rick Martel?
No, it's Tanka.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 10, you could have still been doing fucking Jannetty and Michaels at that point, but Marty's a complete write-off.
So like Marty's getting fired all he like shows up drunk, whatever. half of them are on stuff throughout this era. Is he a little bit of a scapegoat? It's easy to make an example out of Marty. Marty, you're fucking mess. Get out of here.
No, but Marty's good. Look, if you're on the night, I'm sure if you're on the night out with fucking Scott Hall and you got the drink and the bag going, Scott Hall, at least in that era anyway, was, you know, showing for work and putting in a shift. Marty was like getting in fucking, like, there's not stories about fucking. Well, there is stories about Scott Hall getting arrested. Actually, he literally killed a man.
Yeah.
But
He did.
Well, Marty claims
he did.
well, Marty's
Marty's a scapegoat.
Marty's just that loser friend that you fucking have that everybody goes out with, where you're like, everyone's having a few drinks and having a buzz and having a chat, and Marty's putting a fucking pot of plant on his head in the corner and going, "Hey lads, look at me," and like going up, grabbing women's arses,
Jumping out of the hotel.
just being a fucking pest. And like, that was what Marty was like as a drunk, and that's what really got him in a lot of
Why
trouble.
didn't he end up in ECW?
He did.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
And
at
didn't
all.
last too long there. WCW, he signed in
I know WCW.
97. Again, Marty was not able to update himself. He wasn't smart enough
He did very well to keep getting jobs.
because he was so good in the ring.
No, but he must be pretty good at an interview as well.
Job interview.
Like coming in going, I know I got fired 16,
Yeah, but it's kind of
16
like
times before, but I have changed.
He's doing every fucking interview like Spud from Trainspotting. He's so enthused.
But it's
Obviously on drugs.
like you want to hang out with the guy that wants to party. You're like, yeah, but after a while, you're like, that guy still fucking. He won't leave.
I just want to go to bed.
Here's like
It's 6 o'clock in the morning and he's still playing Tiesto. Fuck off, Marty.
In terms of like, he's still playing Tiesto always. In terms of partying wrestlers, like there's a story from like 1995, I think it was, and this is fucking Scott Hall of all people. Marty gets so fucked up, he trashes an entire hotel room, thinks it's gas crack, thinks it's real funny then to give his name as Scott Hall. When the guards show up, Hall gets fucking done. Gets fined.
Jeez, Marty now.
The officer calling Scott going, "Why'd you trash that fucking hotel room last night?" And he goes, "It wasn't me." And somebody, one of the boys in the back, tells him, "Oh, it was actually Marty. Marty was playing a rib on you." And Scott Hall walks the corridors, looks for Marty, finds Marty sleeping off his hangover in the dressing room, and he picks him up and he beats the fucking shit out of him. So, how much of an annoying partier do you have to be in that era that Scott Hall is going, "That was too much"?
Oh, poor Marty. He's still alive anyway, thankfully.
Did he get his foot amputated?
That's what I was about to say.
That was Buff.
Buff got the leg
Both did.
amputated.
Kamala.
Buff is definitely on this list of people actually as well.
Well, you look at his.
We should talk about wrestling amputees. Kerry Von Erich.
But you look
Is
at
Kerry on this list?
Yes.
Kerry should be on
Texas
this
Tornado.
list.
Yeah, but like considering.
Again,
Like,
world champion. He has 1 foot.
Like
He actually did pretty well.
he did it. Like compare him and Zach Gowen.
His brothers are dying all around him.
Yeah.
He comes in, has a pretty fucking hot 1990 babyface run, wins the IC title. Yeah.
And then he dies.
Then he dies. Kerry, God bless him, did as well as he could have with his circumstances, I think.
Yeah.
But he, you know, a lot of the problems there were his fucking drug issues, you know,
Well, it seems that it
and
was,
also smuggling cocaine across borders.
Yeah, don't do that.
but it seems like
Don't
that
do
was
that.
like an endemic of like
The time period.
the time and what wrestling was and the
I know, we missed the boat. Like I fucking
we covered it in why wrestlers die young.
We'd be long dead.
We covered it.
I've traded a young debt for being a wrestler in the 80s and 90s.
Traveling the territories, just sitting with Andre, drinking 100 beers,
Yeah.
pissing himself.
I'd have been
Dead
like,
in the motel at fucking 42.
yeah, I'd have been a fat jobber. But I would have had the best 10 years of my life. And I'd have
What
been
would
dead in a
your
hotel.
name would have been?
Golga.
Larry Carey.
Larry Carey, Johnny Cash,
Beautiful, luscious Larry Carey.
bald and fat and greasy, and hungover. And
That's
off
what
the rocker.
80s wrestler. Like, look at beautiful Bobby Eaton. You're like,
It wasn't
Bobby.
so beautiful.
No,
Best punch in
Yeah,
business.
luscious Larry Carey. That would have been me. Luscious Larry, no entrance. I get the jobber entrance.
died
every
in
time.
1989
Died in the fucking bath.
because of the Canadian mafia. He was smuggling cigarettes. Him and Dino Bravo.
Me and Dino, yeah.
Luscious Larry Carey. He definitely has to make it into a little thing that we're working on anyway.
Luscious Larry's coming in.
Buff Bagwell, you mentioned his 2003 or 2001 WWE appearance for 3 weeks or whatever.
I would not put him on the list, Bagwell.
Wait, you just don't think
Why
he's
did
that
you
good?
think he hit the ceiling?
Yeah, I didn't like
absolutely.
Bagwell.
He hit the ceiling
I
in
didn't
an
even like-
era, of WCW when everything was falling down.
No.
And this
WCW.
There was one point.
Got it back.
There was one point.
he was over for a while, lads.
Remember when he was doing the neck brace gimmick?
Yeah.
And Scott Steiner, Buff Bagwell was like this close to being the biggest face in the company.
That would have been
in
way
97.
overachieving. I think that would be even further overachieving.
So why
He
is
played
that?
that so well. That
Maybe
he
it's just
showed me he had loads of potential.
I'd never any interest in him, but like I just felt when he was in that level, there was so many better guys around, in my opinion, that could have
Sorry,
been.
so can I?
2000 and what? 2000? Are we talking about 2000 WCW?
Well, actually, maybe
Or
sooner.
American-
He was
American
definitely at
males.
he was definitely at his most over. I think maybe 98, 99. Are you actually saying though that he did not, in fact, have the stuff?
Both did not have the stuff.
I would question whether he had the stuff. That's
Is that
all I'm
because
saying.
they had a Judy Bagwell on a pole match?
I think that's kind of
That's not
you
his
can
fault,
laugh. That's
though.
not his fault. You can
Yes,
kind
it
of,
was
that's
man's
like the
fault.
go-to
Yeah.
laugh
Yeah,
thing.
what's his mother doing getting involved?
Judy!
What's Judy doing getting
Go
involved?
check out that video on the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show.
But yeah, I just think Bagwell, I would put him into one of those guys who I never felt would be a world champion, and he got a couple of world title shots, and that would be the height of it.
I would have thought he was like catnip for Vince McMahon.
Didn't he get his ma to call in sick or something?
He did. Yeah.
It's not great.
Fucking
That's not
Judy.
going to go down well with Vince.
Judy getting involved again, like.
Judy was getting involved a lot by all accounts. Yeah.
Well, he was a big partier.
He was a
as well,
shitty
though.
Scott Steiner, really, though, wasn't
He
he?
was a shitty Scott Steiner.
He was kind of like a goofy. The guy is legitimately a fucking stripper and a sex worker, which he kind of works into his gimmick a little bit. I thought it was quite kind of novel, like in some ways. I just felt he's a big muscly guy. He's got good charisma.
Val Venus was a sex worker.
And what a sex
Mostly.
worker.
Yeah, like I would say, I would.
Yeah, but he-
Do you think Val Venus is better than Buff Bagwell?
I do.
I think there's an argument to say
I think
yes.
Buff is much more merchandisable.
I would
and-
prefer to have Buff on my roster than Sean Marley.
And now,
Yeah, Sean Marley made Val fucking Venus.
Val Venus.
There was a period in 1998 where Venus was cool as fuck.
Hello, ladies. He was hot. He was hot. Like.
he was a hot man.
He was.
That
He's a banger cage match with Rikishi at.
Yeah, came off the
Fully
top.
Fully loaded, I think,
Yeah.
Val Venus had his moments for effectively a wrestling porn star, which is not the best
Yeah.
gimmick to be hampered.
Back then it
Banger
was.
feud with
99 was a
with
good
Kai
time
and
to have
Tai.
wrestling porn
Banger
star again.
feud.
Him and Godfather. That's a tag team that should have happened.
Oh, their
They
tag
did.
team. Their tag team. Can you
They
remember
did.
their tag team name?
Oh, fucking Right to Censor.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, Right to Censor.
They were in Right to Censor
No,
together.
but they were also a tag team when they were both face before Right to Censor. What were they called?
Oh.
Supply and Demand.
Oh wow.
Sensational.
No
name.
way.
Yeah.
Sad.
Was that for like a week?
They had a longer run as Right to
Yeah.
Censor, which was less.
That's the good father, and it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't Godfather.
Friend
Actually,
of ours, actually.
he
a
did
good-
well
a
for
good
himself,
friend.
considering like how many times he was repackaged.
Yeah, he did really well.
Yeah.
he was very repackageable.
Look,
And he
for a
did
guy who
really
wasn't
well in
that
every
good,
gimmick.
He actually did very well in every gimmick. I wanted to see more of Papa Shango. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
I'd love more. Not Kama, maybe.
But like
Well,
and
he's the opposite of getting in his own way.
Kama wasn't actually
He's a
right.
man. He's a man who basically, anytime they wanted him, he'd say, "Yeah, perfect.
The
Sign me
impression I
up."
got from him was like, yeah, whatever, I'll just do that.
Yeah,
cool.
I'll do that.
I'll
Perfect.
make it work,
Yeah.
whatever.
But again, intercontinental champion, which I think was actually his ceiling.
Yeah, definitely.
When we had mentioned this in the WhatsApp group, you put down an interesting name, the Ultimate Warrior.
I mean, yeah.
Like
Would you classify the Ultimate Warrior is a lot of people's childhood?
Okay, well, I would have said him in you look again. It's that thing: world champion, massive
event
star,
WrestleMania.
main event WrestleMania, great run, all things considered. I mean, in terms of like in that Jeff Hardy way, where Jeff was kind of been teed up as been Cena's successor, even though Cena wasn't really going anywhere, but. Ultimate Warrior was Hogan's successor. He was given the keys to the kingdom that everybody wanted. And
But how did he get in his own way during that period?
see,
So
I
from,
don't think he
from
got in his own
WrestleMania
way
6
there.
to Royal Rumble.
he was an asshole to kids.
He was. I have a painting of that at home.
Did you see the video of Ryan Gosling talking about like when he was a child and he met the Ultimate Warrior and it
Yeah.
was so disappointing? Like there's tons of stories like this. And Bret Hart in his autobiography makes a point like what really aided Bret in a lot of ways. Like I don't think Bret would have been halfway successful if Bret was the guy after Hogan that Vince was immediately going to plug
He
in.
needed a buffer.
What happened was like Bret saw Warrior get that slot and saw him do everything wrong and he knew what mistakes not to make.
Warrior perceived himself to be this massive star and wanted to get get changed away
He
from
was
people.
just a diva. He didn't have the work ethic that Hogan had.
Because when
But
you
it's
said
also-
it, I thought you were alluding to the SummerSlam
No, I
incident
just
where
mean
he
that
was
he was
demanding
like-
more money.
No, yeah, but
demanding the money
that-
owed to him.
Yeah,
Part of
that
it.
all kind of creates the full package of.
Do you not think
why
the
he
Warrior,
wasn't the
like,
right
it's
guy.
kind of hard to imagine how you for Warrior to continue and be sustained at the main event, he'll have to have like a Hogan long period where people start getting a bit bored with him and the same thing over and over. Was he capable of evolving in any way?
Well,
so
you can
then
see-
he possibly just got to the peak that
You
he
can
could
see
have.
it. You can see it in 1996. He comes out. He's wearing his fucking baseball cap because he's about to get hit over.
I was
the
like,
head.
who is that?
He's missing days because he said his dad is sick, but he doesn't fucking talk to his dad or whatever. And then he goes to WCW and he fucking has a terrible match.
Possibly the worst match of all time.
Yeah, so it's hard to see how he got in his. No, he did get in his own way, but what was left for him anyway to do?
Yeah,
That's a good point, yeah.
because he was a limited in ring.
Yeah, and
Bar when you look at the Savage match or
But
something.
also
they're all
kind of
the same.
limited character-wise.
Yeah.
But
There was
for
no
the
way-
90s it was, but he
Yeah.
he never evolved it. Like,
Yeah.
it would have been interesting where, before he went to WCW, I think Vince made him another offer. It would have been interesting to see
How he would
during
have
the
been
Attitude
used then,
Era
yeah,
how he
that-
would have evolved.
like, would he have stripped it all back? Like, would he have become a human being,
Or would
basically?
he have gone Crow Sting type thing, you know what I mean?
That would have been a good fight.
That'd be interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, he would need a writer, basically, to tell him this is what you're doing.
But would he listen though?
Because I always found, like, say, the Patriot a bit out of whack in WWE as a gimmick.
Yeah.
And that's similar to what, say, Warrior would be in that environment.
Yeah,
Like, even when Papa Shango was going to come back and we're going to revamp his whole voodoo character and stuff, that looked kind of cool. It would have been interesting to
And it
see
was
what...
a really cool attitude here.
But it
Take
has
up
to
the
be-
character.
yeah.
But it
I
has to be
think,
grounded in reality.
but
And-
I think a lot of the guys that we're talking about, not all of them, but some of them, Ultimate Warrior is a great example. Like guys who just didn't have that. You know, when people talk about pop culture, they always talk about, you know, maybe David Bowie or fucking Madonna. In terms
Chris
of
Jericho.
In wrestling terms, Jericho is the one that's always held up as like the person who's able to constantly reinvent themselves.
Taker did it to a degree.
Taker could do it as well. Punk's been able to do it. Danielson's always been fantastic at it. People who can reinvent themselves, who are like got
Never
their
go
finger on the
stale.
pulse of the culture and the zeitgeist, and know how their character fits into that and tailor it accordingly.
Even Rock does it a bit. to be
Rock
fair
as
to
well,
him.
yeah, absolutely. But Ultimate Warrior never, like much like Marty Jannetty, Ultimate Warrior never showed any potential for him to be able to do that. Oh, like his hair is kind of different.
But his character's not grounded on Earth, basically.
But either was the Undertaker, and then by 1997 you've got like.
But the Undertaker was able to.
He's a
There's
cult
backstory built in.
leader.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's like...
Yeah, the Undertaker found loads of depth in that character.
Yeah.
And Warrior similarly could have done the
Could have
same
done it,
thing.
yeah. It could have kind of became a more Bray Wyatt-y type.
That's what I think.
Guy.
I think there is some
Cult-
kind of like
cult type.
psychedelic fucking out
Psychedelic,
in the
yeah,
desert
yeah.
fucking cult version of the Warrior that could have really worked. There's also, as you said, like maybe a Sting
Like
tinged
Jim Morrison type.
a Jim Morrison type fucking thing, like rambling incoherent promos. But like there is stuff that the Warrior could have found, but
Yeah.
he just fucking didn't.
He
What
wouldn't-
about
he wouldn't
someone
have done
that
it.
did try and update a cartoonish character and did it in ECW with Bourne again? Matt Bourne, Doink the Clown, he tried to reinvent himself in a way, but he is someone that 100%.
Matt Bourne, I think, is one of the ultimate examples of like a guy who it's the right gimmick, the right guy at the right time, and he just can't get out of his own way. Much like a Marty Jannetty. Bourne's Doink run, I still think it's one of the best all-time fucking heel runs. I know it's weird because like Doink is such a fucking punchline nowadays, but I do think the evolution of what that character could have been. I still do think in 2025 there is room for, with the right wrestler, maybe a Sammy Callahan or someone, I don't know. Somebody,
done.
Why
now.
do you love
He's
that heel
retired.
run so much? That early Doink.
it's one of
'Cause
these.
it wasn't that
It's
long,
one of
really.
these things in a wrestling context. You know, people always call it, you know what's wrestling is kind of like it's a fucking, you know, it's like a circus. And the ultimate evolution of that was at some point, Vince McMahon particularly is going to do a clown gimmick, and it felt like it was an inevitable thing that was going to happen. And then that gimmick happens, and it's cast perfectly, and it gives an amazing fucking performance. So sinister. He's
And there's like a subtle introduction where he's in the crowd and he's like,
it was done. I mean, in that era of like late '92, all through '93, when WWF didn't have a ton of things going on, Doink was brilliant. He was booked so fucking well. There was so much mileage in that fucking character. And Matt Bourne, you know, he blames Bam Bam Bigelow for getting him fired. But the bottom line is like you're still fucking backstage at a show smoking fucking weed. So like, you know, we're a year off the fucking steroid trial. There's a lot of heat on the company. Hey man, don't do drugs in the building you're wrestling in. Like, that's Matt Bourne getting in his own way. Similarly, when he goes to ECW, does the Born Again gimmick, which is kind of like a split personality version of it. Really ECW tinged. In the
based in reality,
in the way that like the original Doink was kind of like an evil riff on Krusty the Clown. Then he starts like leaning into some kind of Pennywise shit, and it's like this is what ECW Doink would be.
Or like Heath Ledger's Joker.
Or Heath Ledger. Years later, Matt Bourne, when he was fucking broken down as fuck, at least he did have the sense to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a version of Doink that's Heath Ledger's Joker, and he did, and it was still cool, even though the dude was like late 40s, early 50s.
And Sting did it.
And then Sting did it better and on a bigger scale. But Matt Bourne could have been a major star with that gimmick for another fucking 15 years at least, with different evolutions of Doink. He fucked it. They recast it with fucking Ray Apollo, who does nothing.
Disaster.
And it was just such a missed opportunity, and still is. So that's absolutely a guy who just could not get it.
Matt Bourne was so good in the ring as well. Like, people forget that.
Would you think?
So good in the ring, so sinister.
So how far does it go? Like, could you see a 1997 WrestleMania main event with Doink the Clown versus someone like an Attitude Era Doink the Clown?
Not a WrestleMania main event, but I think
in the same way Foley was
like
didn't get WrestleMania main event until 2000.
He would have been completely in line with like Matt Bourne would have thrived with Foley. Like that Doink and Mankind, that Doink and Goldust, any of the like those guys working together in some
Doink
kind
and
of
Vader,
Doink
and
and
Undertaker,
like
Kane.
Doink and Undertaker's a
Doink
big
and
one.
Sid.
Like, I mean, I do think if Undertaker was around the WrestleMania 10, and even not WrestleMania 10, but even WrestleMania 11, fuck it, WrestleMania 9, because fuck John Gonzalez, although that was like the start of Doink's
Fuck
run.
you, El Gigante.
But like Undertaker Doink, I know I said it before, but that was like that was potentially the fucking Batman and Joker of WWF and that fucking cartoon era.
Or even
and they never did it.
Even Doink in the Ministry, because the Ministry,
like
amazing.
You
Also-
got a repackaged Ron Simmons, you got a repackaged Godwin, you got fucking a repackaged
Matt
Mabel,
Bourne again.
repackaged Bradshaw.
Doink in 1998 as the fucking Matt Bourne as the leader of the Oddities with the Insane Clown Posse. There's a fucking stable.
Or Matt Bourne as the higher power.
I wouldn't go that far with him. I think he's.
Why not?
I think
It was Vince. It was Vince.
I don't think he would have been world title level, but he definitely would have been like consistent upper mid card, intercontinental title, foil for the big faces.
Yeah.
He would have been amazing.
What about Jarrett?
Jarrett.
Jeff.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Considering how he left WWF looking for his money, which apparently has been
I think Jarrett is an example of the exact opposite of what we're talking
I
about.
think Jarrett did pretty fucking well for himself.
Yeah, but Vince, like in 2001, you know, he has that like Jeff Jarrett, you're fired kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, did he get in his own way with his hubris beforehand?
I think he did the opposite. I think he got so far because of his backstage politicking and who he was and where he came from.
Jerry Jarrett's son.
And what he could do in the ring versus what so many other people could do around him. I think he did way more than he should have.
He had his hottest babyface run in 2023.
Yeah, like the man is
grand. Like he's done all right. Now I really respect Jeff Jarrett. I think he's brilliant. He's had some great runs and great roles, but he's a bit of a Dolph Ziggler in that the amount of pushes he's got versus the interest he's generated from the pushes he's got is
like had he not left WWE, like that's when he went to WCW and got his world title. He became a world title guy. Like,
and he was the main.
Had he stayed around, he would have still been an intercontinental guy for the rest of his career.
Yeah, but that's because of the refusal of, say, Austin to work with
But he
him.
also, in that similar way, we were
What
talking.
was Austin's beef with Jeff
His
Jarrett?
dad,
Jerry.
yeah, Jerry fucked him on a payment or something.
Well, they fucked everybody in payments in USWA. Steve Austin was living on a fucking bag of raw potatoes every week, while Jeff was getting fucking nepo baby treatments.
It didn't stop Austin from being pals with Heyman. Like that was just a thing in wrestling.
No, it didn't. I just think.
But Austin was probably always paid by Heyman.
Austin was starving his ass off working down in Memphis, and he was looking at the booker.
Why was
the
he not
booker's
cooking
son.
the spuds? Why were they raw?
And the actual probably he's not to cook him on. Apparently, that was Austin's story. But the actual core of the beef, and this speaks to, God bless him, but the absolute pettiness of Stone Cold Steve Austin was one time backstage at USWA where this is in whatever the fucking year it was, like maybe could have been 91 or something,
right,
where like Austin gets his payoff. He gets a payoff, which is like it was something like fucking, I don't know, like he worked a week of shows and he got something like $40, and he's standing there looking at the fucking check, and Jarrett comes up to him and slaps him in the back and goes, don't keep staring at it, it's not going to get any bigger. And apparently that rubbed Austin up so wrong that when Austin was like a big star in 1998. And then particularly, and I do think this is a bit shitty on Steve Austin's part, because in '99 Steve Austin needed hot heels to work with, and Jarrett, to his credit, in 1999 got so hot as a heel, and he left. I think
all the Slapnut stuff and
Yeah, and like not the best gimmick.
Next
but like,
time before he went,
before he left,
before
like,
he left.
like beating the shit when
China.
when he was rocking that kind of chauvinist gimmick. But he got really over, and he was a really effective heel.
Did he get that over though? Like I used to
remember
find
never
him,
liking him.
Yeah, he was kind of like changed the channel.
But we going boo. We going no.
It was X-Pac Heat.
I was there.
It wasn't X-Pac.
I think it was close to X-Pac.
I don't think it was.
Like, who were his feuds? He had a feud with Jericho in 1999. He had a feud with China. He had a feud with... Obviously, the Owen Hart stuff happened at that stage, so the whole tag team thing got dwindled off.
I think Jarrett got himself sufficiently hot in 1999 that when he did leave after the China program, that...
But all he did was...
But
he tagged with Owen up until May, and then he feuded with China, and then he was gone.
Well, he had a baller run there for those last couple of months. He was hot enough that when he went into WCW, he was plugged into the main event pretty much.
Yeah, but I think that's why he was right too. That's why I don't think he should be on this list, because I think he didn't get...
I don't think he should be on this list either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so what are the parameters?
What about
Ryback.
A name.
Ryback is actually...
A name that came up, and we can get to Ryback now if you want. But I was thinking Perry Saturn. And the whole Mike Bell situation.
Yeah, but what was Perry's like ceiling?
Yeah, I think he is.
But Perry was great. He was like European champion, fucking hardcore champion, whatever.
But when you look at
Moppy.
but you look at his work as part of the Flock. You look at his work as part of the Eliminators. He could go in the fucking ring. And then when you see only a few years later, like what Redacted and Eddie Guerrero went on to
He
accomplish.
was never at that level though.
Why
He
so?
was the fourth,
no,
so
he was
Malenko
the
was higher than him.
No,
Yeah.
but
I agree
Malenko
with
was a bit older, wasn't he? So he
Yeah,
was kind of
Malenko
tapering
was a
off.
few years older.
But Malenko could go in the ring.
He was jacked. He kind of had this like.
They're all jacked at that
He kind of
stage.
had like a superstar Billy Graham look into a
Every
degree.
also a
every
bit boring.
faction that Saturn was in, there was at least 3 guys that were more over and more interesting than him. And I have a soft spot for Perry
I
Saturn.
like Perry as well, but I wouldn't
Go check out our Perry Saturn video.
I think Perry hit his ceiling. He was great in the ring, great to watch. He had a decent charisma. He was quite inventive, but
What age was he when he had that incident with the? I
don't know.
Like, so he's already probably late 30s.
He looked jacked off his
mid-30s.
head though. Like that's the biggest that you fucking see Perry Saturn at that stage.
I thought he was good in the comedy role with the mop. Genuinely, I thought that was funny.
Made that work.
But I think that was the level he was at. That was.
I think so
That
too,
was
yeah.
Yeah, I think he had a good run.
at the tippy top of wrestling, WWE. He got to the lower card, and I thought that was fucking
He
great.
was European champion. He was regularly featured on pay-per-views for about 2 years.
Hardcore stuff.
He had a good run WCW as well. TV champion. Great matches, some great feuds. Perry did really well, and I don't think he was getting any higher than that.
No, that's what I feel about Perry as well.
Okay. His compatriot in the Flock, Raven. Could he be classified considering, Shane McMahon, his relationship with Shane McMahon?
No, because I think Raven's the top guy in ECW. Raven, maybe he got in his own way in that he annoyed everyone. Actually, that probably does qualify it. But at the same
He's an
time,
annoying person.
yeah, you've talked to him. He's a particular type of a dude.
All he wanted to do was talk about pagan sex rituals.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He's not like he doesn't seem like an inherently fucking bad dude or anything. But he's just like he's a particular. There's a bit of a fucking drug burnout vibe to him.
He won the TNA, the NWA championship.
He was insanely creative.
Was he first champion?
No, Ken Shamrock was the first champion.
But he is one of the most
TNA.
creative wrestlers. But he had a great TNA run. He wasn't booked as well as he should have been in WCW or WWE. He still had.
He still was interesting.
Decent
Though.
runs.
He did quite well in WCW.
I was
but
always
think,
happy to see him.
I think his WWE run is a lost.
It was a lost opportunity, but there was bright spots.
The
Like
punk run in 2004 or 5 was excellent as
the
well.
dog collar match is fucking insane. That's when I first became aware of Punk.
Yeah,
I was
that
like,
was
who's
such
this
a
guy?
great program.
And they were like polar opposites as characters.
Yeah.
I thought that was great stuff.
So he could have done a lot more. We all wanted to see him do a lot more in WCW and WWE.
It was a phenomenal character.
But did he get in his own way? Is that what
I
stopped
don't know
it?
if he did.
Or is it just Vince?
Well, like
didn't
maybe
fucking
there's
like
not.
him?
I think Vince got
an incident.
No, there's not. I think Vince got in his way, and I think that the fucking overly stacked fucking big boys of WCW got in his way.
Yeah,
that's what got in Raven's way. I don't think he got in his own way.
Also, like kind of a Bray Wyattness to him as well. In that,
But he just got got jobbed out too much.
He was too creative for the environment he was
But
in.
I think that's
the
very
thing
accurate.
is, when you are that creative, it's frustrating to you. Even though your ideas might make sense, they definitely make sense to you. So it's frustrating to you that they're not being enacted. So therefore, you start gaining an attitude,
and then that rubs people.
and that rubs people the wrong way.
But sometimes you can be super creative, but it's not focused. It's not caged
yeah,
in.
but like with Bray Wyatt,
the two best things he did was in ECW, where he had probably loads of creative freedom, and the Punk stuff. in 0405 when again he would have had loads of creative
But it's
freedom.
like the Bray Wyatt effect, where it must have been like Vince going, all right, fuck this. He's not happy. He's given out that he's not getting his vision. He's gone. So,
Yeah. Maybe
or the
like,
Paul Heyman effect, when he would like the quote was, it's better to have him in the castle pissing out than outside the castle pissing in. But then eventually it became too much that he just kept fighting and dying on different hills and all that. And they were like, you know what?
Yeah.
this
fuck
is actually
off.
too much effort.
Yeah.
But
So knowing when to shut the fuck up about something, that.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that was Raven's forte.
Oh,
But like
Jesus
it worked.
Christ.
It somewhat worked.
He's incapable of shutting the fuck up.
It somewhat works for Punk. But then you consider that
No,
you
Punk's
can,
Punk's way more canny as a punk.
Yeah,
but
Punk-
you
exactly.
you
Punk can
consider those.
politic. I don't think Raven can politic.
Punk has his team of solicitors on hand.
But
as
you
well,
can
like.
consider those near like fucking 10 years, decades that we have lost of seeing Punk.
Did Punk get in his own way by
that's
fucking
what
off for 10
that's what I'm
years?
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's still getting his own way.
Do you think he still is?
Well, I mean, in terms of his AW run, yeah, absolutely.
Well, in terms of his WWE run, he seems to be now a company man, and he's going where the money takes him.
How do you feel about that, Kieran?
sad. Very sad.
I just wanted to get that on the record.
Yeah. I thought about this today. I was driving around at one stage and I thought about how Punk is no longer Punk again. I stuck on AFI and started listening to the old ROH team.
Yeah, but
and,
what if he- what
and
if-
it made me sad. It was
What
like,
if he's happy though?
but see, I was actually thinking about this, and in AEW, he had such creative freedom. Tony gave him his old team back against MJF. Like W would never do that for him.
They did for a Cult of Personality.
No,
They gave it to him at Money in the Bank. I know
no.
I know they gave him his
I know, but they would never have
Mikasa, whatever.
But they've never have brought it back to that level of
They did in 2011.
what?
They gave him Cult of Personality. He had this Fire Burns, and then they gave him Cult of
Yeah, no, I
Personality.
know that, but they
I know,
would
but
never
for a one night.
They would never have
special-
done like one night. Let's bring the old ROH
What sounds
Punk.
like some remix of the Terminator. Do you remember that tweet?
yeah. Who's that, Raj Giri?
I think it was Raj Giri.
Fuck's sake.
Fucking idiot.
Anyway, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, I just think we spoke about this before about what was Punk's AEW run and his current WWE, which was better out of the two runs.
Still AW.
It's even more clear now than when me and Shane had
No,
the
but like
initial
his
conversation.
AEW run, right, was great from that Rampage first match with Darby, the Eddie Kingston, MJF, and then after that, it falls off a cliff. Because he's fought, like,
He's out for ages.
Yeah,
he's injured.
He's injured. So how can you say that, like...
I mean, his Eddie Kingston and MJF feuds are still better than anything he's done in WWE
There's
so far.
McIntyre.
Yeah,
They're both better than
of them are
McIntyre, but
better than
McIntyre is like
His best WWE
like,
stuff.
okay, if you're
And the promos,
if
like,
I was going to
yeah.
rank his feuds since he's returned to wrestling, I'd go like
MJF,
then Eddie
Eddie
Kingston,
Kingston.
then Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I'd have the exact same.
Yes, that runs with me in that. Because
off.
that's
That's the worst feuds I've ever seen in my life.
It's been going on for well over a year now at this
It's a
point.
year and a half.
Going to
Like.
continue. But see, that's how can Punk be creatively satisfied?
Yeah.
So that's.
Do you think he's going to get in his own way again one more time in WWE?
His contract's up next year. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
There's some that
Who
like
would he go to? It's like no.
I would love if Tony just like
I think he
smoothed
could go
everything
back to
over.
Tony. I think he could go back to AEW. I think the door would be open.
Tony should just park a giant truck of fucking cash outside his apartment
I
in
think the
Chicago
door will be open,
and get him
lads.
back in for a year and run all those
It's
feuds we
never
want to see.
happened.
I think he's eyeing up a role, because you look at the Ariel
I know, yeah.
Helwani interview from last year, and he's talking about the Booker in me, and stuff.
Yeah.
He's eyeing up a role in WWE.
Or his own company.
No.
I think Tony should just give him the keys to give him a load of money for an AW run and then just let him run Ring of Honor and see how he gets on.
We got a CM Pork t-shirt available on Redbubble if you're interested. Check it out. Sorry, not a great segue.
That's actually pretty good.
Thanks for the plug. I
It
appreciate
worked
it.
perfectly fine.
People who are getting in his own way, Jake Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
You alluded to it.
I alluded to it. So in terms of we're talking about Jeff Jarrett leaving prematurely, Christian maybe leaving prematurely, Jake Roberts after WrestleMania 8, when like all the steroid guys are being cleared out.
Yeah, perfect time for him to be a central piece.
He's been rocking his amazing fucking heel gimmick. One of the best heel runs, in my opinion, of all time. He turns heel in August of 1991 and then rocks through that unreal Macho Man feud, has a fucking great feud with The Undertaker, and then instead of being there ready to be, Bret Hart's fucking one of Bret Hart's first main opponents, finally get to be proper main event guy in WWE when all the other body guys are being flushed out. Jake decides to walk.
It makes no sense.
He signs a contract.
Poor Jake.
Signs a contract with WCW, which then, as soon as Bill, like he signs it, I think with fucking Kip Fry, or maybe it was Jim Herd.
Do you think it was Jim Herd?
So they sign him for a shitload of money because they're like, well, we got Jake, the hottest heel in the fucking business, and then Bill Watts comes in and is like, I ain't paying that to you. Because they had beef from fucking
Fuck's sake,
back in the early 80s.
Yeah, I'm Bill Watts.
So yeah, like Jake walked at
Pissing
the
out
wrong
the
time.
Where's Jake in that?
He's with
I feel like Jake is almost the antithesis of Jeff Jarrett. He's like, Jarrett always is he knows the moves. He knows when to make the moves.
Yeah, Jake never.
Jake has no clue.
I would say if Jake stuck around for the rest of '92, like I do think they wouldn't have maybe needed Yokozuna to that extent, and I do think that the main event WrestleMania 9 could have been in a fucking brilliant Bret Hart, Jake Roberts program.
That would have been so good.
And Jake then
Gets
taking the leg off Hogan.
What about
One, two,
a
three.
healthy Jake versus Steve Austin then coming into the next era?
Because we got him in '96.
It was great in
I know,
'96.
but-
I mean, I was never more invested
but
in the
he's
King of the Ring final, and I thought Jake was going to win
But
it.
he's a piece of trash in the ring. Like, he literally looked like a bit of a piece of
looked
trash.
bad.
When Jake came back in '96, and keep in mind, like Jake
He's
then,
born again.
Jake then is probably younger than any of us are now. Like,
He definitely
looked
was.
so
and
short,
he looked like what you'd imagine a lad in his mid-50s would look like,
Yeah.
even though he's probably
He
what,
looked like he had no
39,
hips.
40.
He
like,
looked like he fucking his knees were gone.
Poor
He,
Jake.
like see
you
when
know, he
he's
doesn't
walking
he doesn't
out
he doesn't have the
afterwards.
top off anymore.
Yeah, he's obviously gone
Covering the
flabby.
belly. Yeah.
That was only '96, like
That was '96.
So what's he doing after that '96?
Smoking crack.
smoking crack and
Wrestling
doing-
in Nebraska.
And what was that show? The Legends of Wrestling show.
When he's
That
too
was-
drunk in the
yeah,
ring.
yeah.
Yokozuna, I think, had the sub in for him.
What was the show?
What was it? It was called Legends of Wrestling.
It
I
was
think,
Legends
wasn't
of
it?
Wrestling, wasn't it? Or
he came out
Widely
Heroes
regarded
of
as the
Wrestling,
worst,
maybe.
or I don't know. Widely regarded as the worst wrestling pay per view of all
he ended
time.
up having to like make a fake tag match for the main event.
Yeah, somebody got subbed in. I don't know who it
Keith
was.
Koloff was there or something.
But there's
Ivan
like there's
Koloff
about
there.
6 different videos you could look up on YouTube where Jake is brought out as a celebrity wrestler and he's absolutely off his face and it's so
like,
sad.
It's yeah. Look, it's great.
Same
to see him.
as Scott Hall.
Scott Hall
lad.
as well, yeah.
It's great to see Jeff or Jake now, like still.
Yeah.
You know, he looks
Alive.
alive. Yeah, just
He's going to be in Belfast. He's going to be at Comic-Con. Hopefully I'll meet him.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
like.
I mean, like Jake's been gainfully employed with AEW for the last 5 years, which
But
is
does he still have a Legends
6 years
deal with
maybe.
WWE then as well?
probably
Because
Jake.
they're making figures
He must have some
of
sort
Jake.
league.
So I don't think AEW have made a Jake
the fact
figure.
that Jake is one of the main survivors of the golden era of wrestling
crazy.
is insane.
He's
There's a lot to be said for not taking steroids.
Jake and Ric Flair.
because like
a lot to be said for not taking steroids.
Yeah,
Just
like-
drinking drugs.
You think of like you watched that
Amazing.
Hunter Biden interview recently where he's talking about crack cocaine. I was like, everyone who took loads of steroids, their hearts exploded.
Yeah.
But Jake Roberts smoked crack religiously for probably a decade and a half. And he's still fucking knocking
He's
around
fine.
like.
Yeah. Well, according to Hunter Biden, crack isn't so bad.
Yeah, the Hunter Biden interview on crack is one of the craziest
Yeah,
things
you
I've ever
can,
seen.
you can smoke crack and then go headline a Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
And win
Yeah.
the Intercontinental title by
He
being
didn't get
Bret
fired
Hart.
for that.
He did. He absolutely did about it. Well, not for,
For
that specifically,
yeah. But like poor Marty's going, hey, what about me? Why are you firing
Davey
me?
Boy's mate fucking goes off on a crack smoking binge with Jim Neidhart for a few weeks. Wrestles one of the greatest main events of all time, but then he gets caught for like fucking for steroids, and then his Intercontinental title run is cut.
What about Dynamite?
Yeah,
100% got in his own way.
Yeah, that's
like
a
he just
that's
go
a
around
classic
punching
one.
everyone.
That's a
Yeah,
classic
like
one.
getting his fucking teeth caved in by one of the Rougeaus.
Yeah.
You
don't
and
fuck with the Rougeaus,
seems like it was
you know
deserved.
what? It was
And
probably it's probably doing. Like, what would Dynamite Ceiling have been if he wasn't such a fucking bully and an asshole? Here's what Dynamite Ceiling would have been. Probably would have become the world champion, taken too much steroids, been way more brain damaged. Killed his wife, his kids, and then himself.
I knew you were going. I knew you were going there.
Every show,
Come
John.
on! But that probably would have been like the trajectory. Maybe he was
I know.
doing him a mercy that his back gave out when it did.
Like
Like
he fucking got a gun out to fucking.
he put a gun in his wife's mouth. Like fuck that. Like
Scumbag, you
His
complete
total
scumbag.
scumbag. But he's also probably desperately concussed.
Yeah, but I also
Constantly.
think if
And
there
brain
is
mush.
ever, I know they did the Von Erichs one, but if they're ever making like a wrestling biopic, Dynamite Kid is
that book that came out. I forget the writer. But it's one of the best wrestling books I've ever read. It's called Dynamite and Davey, and it's this kind of like dual kind of biography of the two of them, where like they're both together for most of it, and then it kind of dovetails into their lives afterwards. That is the one thing I've even pitched it in fucking meetings before. I'm like, somebody gets to write. If somebody wants to make a fucking TV series, that is the wrestling book. Like, it's the only wrestling book where I'm like, I'd love to see Martin Scorsese direct that. He wouldn't go near it.
They're both
But it's an amazing
tragic.
book, and they're such tragic figures in completely different ways.
I think
it's a great story.
If Anton's been made like TV or fucking Oscar bait type thing, Dynamite
needed just 4 or 5 more years, and then he would be talked about amongst all the greats.
Yeah, that's the sad thing.
Like he didn't need to win a world title. He just needed to get to like an intercontinental title, have a fucking banger against Rick Martel, have a banger against
Jannetty
Jannetty and Dynamite Kid.
Oh jeez,
Mania
Headlining in your house.
It's like, all right, there's a really annoying
party.
The really annoying drunk who's like stealing people's hats and like laughing, and then the one who's in the corner just like staring at you.
That's going to hurt someone.
Like
in the next hour.
But he was. I mean, that could have been his gimmick in the Attitude Era. What, like wrestling Begbie, but that was Dynamite Kid.
Exactly.
But when you think of
abusing everyone, and you abuse him once back, he beats the shit out of you.
Imagine fucking like 1994. You got to. I know WWE weren't doing Fatal 4-Ways, but imagine you had like fucking Bret Owen, Dynamite Davey. Like
would he have been in the Heart Foundation?
He would have been in the Heart Foundation
100%.
Instead of Pillman.
Along with Pillman.
The two of them together is a nightmare blunt rotation as well.
Dynamite's got a gun!
I don't know. I think I would
Again,
yeah. I would have done it. I think I would have done a night on the beer with Pillman. I wouldn't have done it with fucking Dynamite.
No way, mate.
I'd be going home with no eyebrows, no teeth, and no fucking hair.
Pillman had goodness in him. Dynamite, I don't know.
Yeah.
talking about people that like to party, Matt Riddle. We seen him online there recently
Such
about
a
this
piece of
whole
shit.
GWK thing, the charity that.
Firstly, why was he being invited to headline a match for a domestic violence charity with his own history?
Does he have history?
Is there? I know it was like a
he got
sexual assault
Me Too'd.
thing, but
Well, it was his wife.
he slapped his wife around.
Allegedly, he does deny it.
He does. But there was stuff with the wife. She accused him of lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Mistreatment. I don't know if he hit her or anything.
He came out today.
Here's where I was about 5 years ago with Matt Riddle, genuinely in WWE. I felt two things were going to happen. Riddle was going to be the next top babyface. This is pre-Cody coming back. I thought Riddle's going to be the next top babyface after Reigns. Riddle is going to be the one who's going to retire Brock Lesnar. How wrong I was.
Or fight Goldberg in some main event thing.
Yeah.
He was a phenomenal worker.
Great worker,
So
great
good,
gimmick, great look, great charisma, so fucking marketable.
Very easy, like not like a great traditional wrestling promo, but his promo style was real, like,
And his fighting
easy.
style.
He was like it was a goofier, more charismatic Rob Van Dam.
You watch one Riddle match, say an OTT, you watch one Riddle match and you are sold.
Him and Speedball.
Like, you don't need to be told, oh, he's an unbelievable wrestler.
Him and
He's
Ospreay.
like him and Keith Lee, I think we saw as well. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's so good.
And it's one of those rare instances.
And he also had the legit badass thing going as well. Like,
Him and Ospreay actually is what got me like way over into OTT. Watching that like from the second, third row.
It says a lot that someone that kind of charismatic, who's been kicked out of UFC, kicked out of WWE, and AEW won't fucking touch him.
AEW won't touch him. But
he's poisoned all. Like,
He showed up in TNA
But
for a
one
show.
of those rare instances where you look at like the character and you go, I love that character. And that is such an endearing, fantastic, on-screen presence. And then the real life guy is such a demonstrable piece of shit.
yeah, like a pure piece of shit.
Is he like?
Yes.
I don't like. We don't know.
We don't
him,
know
but-
for sure.
and,
Orton would say that him and Orton were best buddies. Like, he annoyed Orton at the start. Look, 'cause he's obviously annoying, but he annoyed Orton at the start, and then Orton got to know him. And Orton would say that him and Riddle got Orton through that era and made him love wrestling again.
Maybe Matt Riddle's going through some shit, and maybe he's not a complete asshole. But
I kinda get that feeling
What
as
is
well.
without doubt is that like the dude cannot get out of his own way. He could have been possibly the top star in WWE right now.
I would agree. I think that there is he would be. He's big on this list if the parameters are what I think the parameters are.
Yeah.
Mr. Kennedy.
Definitely, but not so much his own fault. I think he's way more of a victim.
Orton
kind
No,
yeah,
fairness,
he's more of a victim of a cutthroat backstage environment than him actually being
He
a
wanted to
fucking.
be the spokesperson. He going on fucking chat shows talking about steroids, and then he gets busted for steroids.
Yeah, he got in his own way there.
That's stupid.
Yeah, that's one of the dumbest things you can do.
Yeah,
And he seemed hot, and when he got
It's
released
hard
in
to quantify
09,
how hot that guy was. Like, he was a genuine future main eventer. He's
What year was he super hot? Like 07?
07, 08.
Yeah.
Like, he was potentially going to be like, he was rising up the ranks as a top heel, had a fantastic feud with The Undertaker in an era where Undertaker didn't kind of work with like normal looking, normal sized
that
guys.
match at Batista where he got busted open.
Fucking fantastic.
Because I remember it was before I qualified as a teacher. I was, you go and do a bit of subbing. It was back in the days where you could get paid for subbing before you were qualified. So you go and do a bit of subbing and you get nice money. But I was in a school and kids were going around the corridor just shouting, Kennedy!
Morrissey!
He was so over.
Morrissey!
He was so over at that time.
I listened to his Chris Van Vliet interview there earlier this year, and Kennedy would, like, if Kennedy was in this, if we had a 5-man boot and Kennedy was the other guy, he would say he absolutely got in his own way.
Really?
Like,
Yeah.
he seems like this guy who's kind of forgiven all the shit that went on before, but he's like, no, I deserved everything I got. My attitude was completely wrong.
Here's one coming in there on X.
I mean, right now, live.
You mean Twitter?
Why is Marty Jannetty on X?
Because I said name a wrestler who got in their own, who were their own worst enemy when it came
What
to
are
succeeding.
they saying on Twitter?
David Starr. He was genuinely captivating. Anyone who was in the National Stadium that night knows the power that man had. We were there. He was on the cusp of something amazing, and then he fucked it all up by being a shite bag of a human.
Well, he didn't fuck it up because I think all of the bad shit he did, he'd already done.
Yeah, it was too late.
It was just too late. Karma is a fucking bitch, as they say.
Yeah,
A lot of
Great
people-
worker, great character, unique character.
I don't think I'll ever witness a match like that Devlin match. Like the feeling in there as they came out, the whole build leading up to it, the match itself being so perfect, and then the aftermath where he's floating around the crowd. There was something caught there, something magic in a bottle that they'll never be able to get again. It was punk-esque in some ways.
was palpable.
It
was really weird because, like, Cody Rhodes seems like a very decent dude, but even like back then, before all the shit came out about David Starr, like Cody hated him in a way I've never seen Cody hate.
What happened?
I don't know exactly, but like
Pete
Cody
Dunne was
doesn't-
kind of the same. People alluding to the fact that he was a bit of a dickhead.
I feel like
I heard
feel
as
like
well.
now maybe there was like
We heard,
because
yes.
he was an actual like his whole gimmick was I'm fucking gonna set up a union, and he did the whole union thing as a gimmick. Maybe that rubbed people up the wrong way. I don't know, but like what I'm saying is there seems to be a lot of heat on
Cody
him.
knew something.
Cody knew something, maybe,
He
yeah.
stepped on the NXT UK title. I think that rubbed Pete Dunne up the wrong way because.
Yeah, but fucking Brad Maddox came on it. Although that didn't do him any favors.
But like.
Actually, that really
Brad
that's-
Maddox
like-
got in his own way.
Like him, Joey Ryan, all those people that ended Jimmy Havoc, all those people, Jack Gallagher, that ended up getting
Hart,
cards.
Marty
Like,
Skrull.
Marty
like
Skrull.
there is,
They're
you
wiped
fucked
off.
it.
Welcome to Mexico, boys.
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yeah.
You absolutely fucked it.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the shady, weird, pervy, nasty shit they did, some of it was before they were getting their pushes, and it just didn't come.
yeah, I don't think-
I suppose we don't know what actually happened in any of that stuff, but at the same time, it happened in this weird vacuum where you just basically, if you were a bad person in any way in your life, you were getting called out for it, and you're getting your whole life cancelled.
Well, I felt like Marty Skrull was the only cut and dried one because he was like, "Yeah, I had sex with that drunk underage girl backstage."
Well,
at a
no,
wrestling
David
show.
Starr admitted to
Rape?
Yeah,
No,
it was grey rape. He called it.
It's a
The fuck is that?
pressured someone into it. Like, would you classify
Sounds
Velvetine?
like rape. I
Would
don't
you
know,
classify
this is great
Velvetine dreaming that?
Yeah, don't send kids pictures of your dick.
Yeah, don't.
He
be a fucking
is someone
another
that had so much potential.
Oh, like, I mean,
I thought he was a surefire WrestleMania main event.
I thought he had rock levels of fucking potential.
Did he know the age of the person you send that to?
He says he does. He also denies doing it anyway. So I don't know. Look, like I don't know the intricacies of it, but
But WWE backed him for a
they did
while.
for a while.
but then more shit came out.
And they did their quiet investigation, which sometimes like guys just quietly end up still working for the company. There's a few still there, so you just go, okay, maybe they were rigorous about this, and they've done their due diligence, and they've gone like, this guy is not okay. We don't believe this fucking shit, and actually, it's not in any way provable. And there's doubt. The thing with Velveteen Dream is that there was like, it's not like a one incident. There's like multiple incidents there with Velveteen Dream that seemed to completely scupper him. And I say scupper him, but like he's been a fucking creep with young fans. Like, it's just a no-go in any
have to
territory,
go.
apart from that one wrestler who got away with it for all of his career.
It's kind of
Jerry Lawler.
Ryback, we mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
But again,
Why did he get in his own way though?
I think he got in
he's
his
a
own way.
meathead.
I
There was a
think
Goldbergness to him.
no, but see that's the thing. I think
Goldberg didn't get in his own way.
because with some of the
No,
guys
but in
we.
some ways Goldberg kind of did.
Maybe. But
No,
did Chris
but see,
Jericho
but see, Ryback has that.
Yes.
Ryback has that potential to have a warrior.
Chris Jericho too.
Ryback has the potential to have like a warrior run, a Goldberg run, one of those ultimate high end. It's only the last 2 years,
2-3 years,
but
it'll
he
be
has
huge.
potential
Hey,
for it.
Vince
Yeah.
McMahon, okay, two things. Vince McMahon has put a rocket on you, and two, you got over as fuck.
Yeah. So he did get in his own way, but at the same time, the potential, he wasn't going to be lasting too much longer.
No,
So
I agree with that as well. Yeah, but he could have had like a
they should have put
WCW Goldberg run, or what's the other one you mentioned?
Goldberg
A Warrior.
Yeah.
Like this short electric run.
unbeaten. But
Yeah, and that he could be coming back now doing the Goldberg spots. You know
they
what I mean?
nearly put the title on him.
They fucking
So close.
so close.
And in some ways, they should have.
Well, they did put
that
on
night
Alberto.
felt like they should
That
have.
felt like it should have,
Like
yeah.
in the arena, it felt like they should have put the title on him.
And then he's the fucking rocket is on. Like
I know, yeah.
But like the fact that he hasn't even TNA didn't even book it. Like, you got a guy who's like, rocketed into main events in WWE for a couple of years, quite recently, and is still in good shape.
had he never got on social media and he just disappeared,
Disappeared, he'd have been brought back.
He would have been brought back, and he would have
He
been
could have
insanely
actually
over.
cultivated a mystique around himself and
Yeah.
still be having a great run.
Yeah.
I think apparently he priced himself out of the indies and then
Yeah.
That's who people thought Kevin Owens was talking about, but they cleared that up and said it wasn't him.
Who was Kevin Owens talking about?
I don't know.
But he priced himself out. He shot on the Indies during a period where the Indies was never hotter.
Yeah,
so like
the
he
most
could've-
electric period of the
exactly.
Indies
And there was
ever,
other
like.
guys like Drew and Cody going to the Indies and doing
Yeah.
these amazing things, and he's shitting on it.
Lex Luger, maybe. No.
Multiple time world champion.
Not a Hall of Famer though.
But I think
He got to the Hall of Fame this year, Mark.
I think Vince got in his way.
I think Vince did get. Vince got in his way. I think with
Yeah, Bill Watts is about to get in his way on Wednesday on Total Extreme Morrow.
And
Half 12 Wednesday
what
on
about
YouTube.
AEW when you're looking at the likes of Miro and Aleister Black? And
Miro 100%, Aleister Black 100%.
both those guys. Miro's just after having his best WWE out in there at fucking Clash in Paris. Miro's got a lot of juice. I think he's a.
The fans don't care.
But I think he's good enough to make them care.
I hope so.
He hasn't shown it so far in his return, but I think he's getting there.
I don't think he will.
I think he's a great foil for Cody, and boy, does Cody need them.
Yeah, but I also just think that he can't be a great foil if fan investment doesn't come in.
But look at the fan investment he had against Cena like 10 years ago in their program.
10 years ago.
And that was when he was fresh and hot.
I would say he's still as good.
Like,
He's
he's
probably
great
better now than.
ability. He's great ability, but like if the fans don't start making noise when he's entering,
I think a lot of that is down to the fact that they've given him shit music, and they should have used his old kind of Russian tinged team.
Yeah, I think he fucked himself in AEW as well though, because like there was a time period there like when
He had some great moments in, and I felt like the Redeemer gimmick is probably his
good.
best character work. And
Ever.
I'm really surprised and disappointed at WWE for not trying to harness that.
Yeah, and
Yet.
like
Yes.
no, they might turn it around. Dunph doesn't think so. I tend to agree with Dunph. But I just like
Copy
he
Dunph.
just wasn't willing to do a job.
Do we know that for a fact?
And I think it's kind of
His
obvious.
buddy Meltzer said it.
He dropped the fucking title to Sammy Guevara of all people.
Yeah, Sammy was hot at
Sammy,
that
another
time.
one that kind of got in his own way.
Sammy wasn't.
No,
hot.
I think Sammy got the maximum out of himself. I think Sammy could actually get hot again if he got on a
what about
lucha match.
Goldberg?
I think
Actually.
Sammy's just turned heel and he's joined the LFI. He's in the best position he's been in for fucking years to actually do something. But I do think, and I've said it before, Sammy Guevara, there is no wrestler in AEW who needs a trip down to fucking Performance Center and spend some time in NXT. I
But
think
Sammy got X-Pac heat ultimately. Like he got
And
this go away heat because he was in your face so much, and then he started believing the hype.
I
a little
have
bit,
rarely seen a wrestler with such incapability of being any form of a babyface than Sammy Guevara.
He
can never be a babyface.
He cannot.
And he
I
needs
want
to stop trying.
sympathy.
Go on.
Adam Cole.
Great point.
That's actually very good on as well.
Yeah.
For a guy that seems so nice.
But like Adam Cole's a fantastic heel, and Sammy isn't even a fantastic heel, so he's really got nothing. At least Adam Cole can be a fantastic heel.
Sammy hasn't learned how to lean into that natural annoyingness that he has.
Yeah.
If he just figured out how to tap into that for an on-screen character,
You think he's stuck?
He'd be huge here.
He's
But same Adam Cole as a babyface. You're such an inherently likable
why
dude in
can't you
real
tap
life.
into this?
Why can't you, like, he's such a bland, smiling, just drywall babyface.
80s babyface.
He's so bad as babyface. I'm
Stuck on first base. Speaking of first base, softball Sid.
Softball Sid.
I will say,
segue.
I mean,
you wrote that yesterday.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you fucking did. Yes, you did.
so for a guy,
He chat GBT'd it yesterday.
I did not.
for a
That's
guy,
Dunphy original.
for a guy who's anointed as the new Hogan post the Warrior experiment, for a guy with like the pushes that he got. The fact that he nearly stabbed Arn Anderson to death, that he routinely left in the middle of programs and pushes in order to go play softball.
I love that song.
It's amazing.
Sid is a four-time world champion, 2 WWE, 2 WCW. He's
Why me?
He wrestled twice at WrestleMania, both times in the main event. All things considered,
It's insane.
Sid did pretty fucking good.
And yeah, he's so beloved as well.
I know.
Yeah, because he got over. He was amazing to fucking not as a wrestler. He could have good matches with certain
He
people.
still had good matches, but he was just so captivating.
He was
Well, like Sid was always operating on like 40% of Sid. Imagine we ever got like 100% of Sid. How good he could have been.
He'd have been the-
And
he'd have been the GOAT, like.
He was the prototype for fucking Austin before Austin as well. That's one thing that people
The
have really realized retrospectively with Sid. Sid was actually, there's an argument maybe to made for like Dr. D, David Schultz back in the 80s, but Dr. D was always positioned as a proper fucking old school heel. Whereas with Sid, in Sid's 1996-97 run,
They had the same hair.
they had the same hair, but Sid was like ostensibly a bad guy who was the first real guy who was positioned as a bad guy who the fans just loved and cheered for.
Yeah.
And that had never really happened, I think, to that extent in WWF.
Yeah.
Two quick ones before we wrap up. William Regal.
No.
Considering that he was being angled for world title
Yes,
push.
he got
Once he did.
He got, and maybe a couple of other times as well. Like he got in his way, unfortunately, at the time where he was doing his best character work.
Yeah.
He was in the best shape of his career. He had the best look. He figured out the gimmick that was the main event gimmick for him. He became the king of the ring.
Yeah.
He was about to be plugged into a world
He was
title
the GM
program.
as well of
He was
Raw.
GM of Raw. He in 2008, in that same way that John Bradshaw
owning
Layfield
that time.
clicked in 2004. Regal clicked in 2008. He was going to have a world title run, no fucking doubt, because of how good he was at that time. And yes,
up with
he fucked it.
The stuff with Triple H, he could have been your top babyface
King of the
or
Ring
top
stuff.
heel.
But the one thing about Regal though is he got in his own way, but he also worked his ass off to get there. Like he's very unnatural. He's not a sporty looking guy. He's not agile. Like he's obviously very good at all his technical stuff and he's very intelligent. But he did get him. He probably overachieved in some ways to even get to
For
that
American
level.
style TV wrestling.
I think I figured out what the parameters are.
Okay.
We're
fucking about to end the episode.
Let's record. Stop and go
Stop.
again.
No, okay. Here's the thing that like some of these people we've discussed, say the Marty Jannetty's and the Austin Aries and the Matt Riddles and all those. None of those guys have will have Hall of Fame careers. I don't think, unless the Rockers get in, but I doubt it at this point. William Regal has a justified Hall of Fame career.
Agreed.
Okay, so that rules that
You
way.
include his talent spotter stuff.
That's who.
So if you've Hall of Fame, you can't get in.
I don't know, but I just think like you're not
You
too
should
bad
have-
for yourself if
That
you got a
rules
Hall of
out
Fame career.
Goldust then. Dustin
What
Rhodes.
do you mean? Well, he's got a Hall of Fame career.
That's what I'm saying. So it rules out for someone who didn't get in their own way. Like
Never
that,
a world champion.
Like he doesn't
Yeah.
fall within our parameter because he had his demons and all
Well,
this
what
kind
you
of
will
stuff.
say about Dustin Rhodes, I think.
His dad got in his way, I think, in some ways.
But Dustin also like he like I don't think he hit his ceiling. I think there was.
I don't think he hit the ceiling.
I think he could have been.
Was that because of himself? Like a lot to do with himself?
It was.
or
I
is
think, I think more so the fans never did this, and I don't think his co-workers ever did. But I think Vince definitely boxed him too much into the Goldust gimmick, and he easily could have broke out with that. And there's so many actually variations of the Goldust
But he
gimmick.
tried. That's what I'm saying. He tried. So he wasn't necessarily boxed in when he tried to do the artist formerly known as Goldust, and he's doing promos as Dustin. And every time then when he came back to WWE subsequently, he was a version of Goldust.
But there's no way that Dustin Rhodes couldn't have done what Jeff Jarrett was doing in terms of
start his own promotion and book himself on top.
exactly.
Yeah.
which is what we're going to do.
I have one more as
because
well.
we have a wrestling night.
Hey, no, well, your one more better be fucking Nailz, because we have to talk about Nailz.
Let's talk about Nailz first.
Okay, we have two more. Nailz.
Two more.
Shouldn't have punched their cop Vince McMahon. He might have.
Bet the fuck out of Vince, and that's how he got in his own way.
Yeah.
All right,
Next, who else?
Next, last one.
So I want to add just for posterity.
You say some fucking random All
not-
Japan wrestler.
No, it's Japanese, alright.
Jumbo Saruta.
But he's currently wrestling today in AEW, Shibata. He fucked off in 05 when he was one of the top 3 with Tanahashi and Nakamura.
Thanks for the update. This has been the Wrestling Fan Wrestling.
Then he came back and gave himself brain damage headbutting Okada when he was starting to get hot again.
Interesting enough today, like the podcast I was listening to today was Samoa Joe on Chris Van Vliet or whatever how you
Dunphy's
pronounce
friend,
it,
yeah.
whatever. I can't pronounce his
CVV.
surname. CVV, yeah. Anyway, but Samoa Joe was talking about how like post his world title run, how like one of the people he wanted to give the shine to in AEW was Shibata, because he just felt like this is a guy who should be on TV way more and who should be pushed to a much bigger level. The ops have been great for Shibata, and I think, and what I've really noticed about Shibata lately in AEW is the pop he's getting.
Oh, yeah, he's
the
over
lad
it.
does not have great entrance music, but he seems
hate his entrance
over at
music.
it. It's so bad. But
Yes,
he does
they're
seem
all-
over at a level now with AEW fans and American fans that I wouldn't have expected when he
But
showed up
he
first.
could have been like Nakamura, Okada, Tanahashi level. But he went off to try and be an MMA fighter.
Jackson Riker. Anyone
Did he
remember
get in
him?
his own way? Yeah, but was he
I
shit
don't know.
anyway? Yes. Do we care about him?
I'm gonna,
no, not ever.
I'm gonna plunge us back into something else. Ahmed Johnson.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I thought him
That's
earlier.
a
I forgot to
great
say
one.
that.
Man, he
That's a great one.
much like Ryback, he had the fucking rocket strapped to him.
Yeah.
And then he ended up in Harlem Heat 2.
He put on a lot of weight. He decided to start
The
wearing.
weight was the big thing.
Decided to start wearing 8 knee pads on each leg for way too long. But there was great potential. He had fucking great charisma. And I remember when he rocked up first in late '95. Like he was fucking deadly to watch.
Pearl
him.
River
It-
Plunge
It
is
was all-time
amazing.
He had deadly entrance music as well.
Yeah.
It's class, yeah, and just the
The
look.
feud with
a
Nation
kid-
of Domination was sensational.
And as a kid watching him, like you immediately bought into him as a superstar.
Badass.
Now, as an adult watching him back, his promos are absolutely dog shit.
Well, you've been watching 90s pay-per-views, haven't you?
I've been watching a lot of 90s
I
pay-per-views.
can't remember any Ahmed Johnson.
Well, that's because it's complete. You cannot. It's
Like
Unintelligible.
he could have given the fucking Hard Times promo, and we wouldn't have we wouldn't have figured out what he was saying.
poor Ahmed, but yeah, he's definitely worth a
He
mention.
was, yeah, I think he's a guy that you could definitely add to this
Any
list.
more honourable mentions?
No, I'm done.
There's
I need to go
probably
to the
there's
Jacks.
actually probably like we can do a part 2
He's
of
time
this.
for a piss.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, how did he last? But let's know in the
you're-
comments.
you're
Your
take-
honourable mentions.
Do you want to hear more about Nailz? Because we've lots more to talk about. I do.
We
anyway.
could do a Nails episode.
Let's.
Yeah, let's hammer
People
it
who
home.
punched Vince McMahon episode.
Do you think, Can we actually can we from the cast just get Nailz? Can we do like an interview with Nailz?
Yeah, I'm sure he's contactable.
You know how to contact
He wasn't for
everyone.
about 20 years there, but he is now.
He was locked up.
Very good.
Because of the gimmick. But this has been the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show. Like, subscribe, comment below. Tune in for All Elite Morro and then Total Extreme Morro and then another show that he's probably going to end up
The
whispering in.
Masawathon is...
Masawathon, that's still happening.
Deep in that.
4 people are waiting for that one.
I know. Yeah. Well, look, I service the fans around
I love
there,
it.
you know?
I love it. You said you were going
Much
to do
like
a
Sammy
show.
in the ECW locker room.
I want to do a show. I'm thinking some kind of 90s
New generation.
show. So
Kieran Nation.
I'd like people to let me know. Would you have an interest in a new generation 90s show?
I
Where
always thought you were kind of like the Todd Pettingill of this podcast.
Thank you very much.
Let us know.
That's a great
Let us
compliment.
know.
For the moustache.
That just looks cool.
Let us know a pay-per-view below that you want from the mid-90s, new generation era.
Yeah.
Or late 90s. WCW as well, or
I will do WCW.
whatever is available online
find the worst
at the moment.
92 to 93.
watch that.
And the worse the
Legends
better
Wrestling.
in some
The
ways.
worse the better.
Yeah.
This has been the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show. I'm the big beefy boy. This is fellow over in Mars, trying to be smarter. Kira Dunphy. Like, subscribe. Thanks very much. Stay safe, stay sane. Good luck.